So I've been reading some manga quite recently and happened to stumble upon this very interesting title that may or may not have broken its way into my top 10. This manga is Tokyo Revengers. After the recent release of the anime adaptation and a live action series being announced for July of 2021, I am very excited to continue going through this series. Tokyo Revengers follows the story of Takemichi Hanagaki, whose life is at an incredibly low point. He can't hold a job and lives in pretty poor conditions at his apartment. Just as his life continues to get lower and lower, he finds out that his ex-girlfriend was murdered by the Tokyo Manji Gang, a group of vicious delinquents who rule the streets of Tokyo and remove the peace from society. One day, out of nowhere, Takemichi is pushed in front of a train, and before the train can hit him, he finds himself transported back into his time as a delinquent during middle school, when he was still in a relationship with his now murdered ex-girlfriend. Through this, Takemichi chooses to infiltrate the Tokyo Manji Gang and save his girlfriend from being killed in the future. When going back in time, Takemichi meets up with his ex-girlfriend's younger brother in a park. As the two are about to say goodbye, Takemichi is brought back to the present day. He later finds out that by shaking the hands of his ex-girlfriend's brother, he can send himself between the past and present freely. After Takemichi experiences life as a delinquent again, he learns to fend for himself just a little bit more than he used to, standing up to really strong opponents when put into dangerous situations. Because of this bravery, Takemichi is approached by the leader of the gang in their area and becomes quite good friends with him and a few other members. With this kicking off the story, we then get to experience things like biker gang meetings and other gang related underworld type things going on. Although we do see this, nothing is too graphic, so if you aren't someone who likes graphic manga, you won't have to worry about a whole lot of that in this sort of story. This story truly is incredible. If you're someone that enjoys reading action and mystery manga, I believe that you would find this series to be a good read. As someone who enjoys reading a lot of action shonen titles myself, I found this series to be an awesome adventure into darker storytelling. This manga has a mix of everything, scaling from a little bit of romance all the way up to a large bit of action. There really is something that everyone can enjoy when reading through this series. When reading this manga, I felt as though it was forcing its way into my mind. What I mean by this is that the manga makes you think and reflect on things you've done in your life. Although I haven't done anything close to what happens in this series, it makes me think about some of the mistakes or cringy things I've done and just have a laugh and look at how I moved on. Although this is a deep take from the manga, I believe there was some intent by the mangaka to make you think about your life as the reader. Ken Wakui, the mangaka, has a really good and unique art style. The character designs that have been used in the series are some of my favourite from every manga series that I've ever read. My personal favourite character design that I have seen in this manga is the design of the character Draken. Just looking at that fresh trim and that dragon tattoo makes you think how cool every other character in this series is going to be. When reading through the series, you're given a lot of context and backstory for a lot of the characters too, so you learn to care and why you should care for them. There was a cool little chapter that I don't want to say too much, but it's the backstory about Draken and how he grew up and his childhood and sort of what his life situation has been and how he got to the point that he is at now. This was probably one of my favourite parts early on in this whole manga because he is my favourite character, and just learning a little bit more about the characters in that sort of way helps me develop my understanding and just makes me feel more towards each of the characters. Although it sounds weird, in a way, this mangaka was able to implement backstories inside of a backstory, if you do actually get what I mean. I really do wish that I gave this series a shot earlier because I've heard so many people recommend the series. If you have any doubts about trying out this manga, I'd recommend you just dive in and read it, because it is very close to being at a 10 out of 10 in my books. One thing that I find to be very disappointing is how this manga may never get a physical English release, because if this came out physically, I would 100% jump on it, and my wallet would have some giant Tokyo Revengers shaped holes in it. Luckily though, since the anime came out, it's giving me a little bit of hope, because generally when a popular anime comes out and it has a manga behind it, the manga will usually get purchased a lot more than normal. So hopefully if you guys support the anime and the digital version of the manga, we might actually see some physical volumes be released. If you would like to check out this manga for yourself, you can purchase it digitally from places like Kodansha and most other digital manga stores. Anyway guys, if you have read this series before or have watched the first episode of the anime, let me know your thoughts on this awesome manga series and anime down in the comment section below. Now, I would like to thank you all for watching this video. I hope you've had a good day, and just, yeah, peace.